Hi you guys, I'm so excited because we are starting a new series called 12 Things. So in honor of the Yes Girls turning 12, I am going to share 12 things that I have learned from starting the Yes Girls from scratch. Back when I was 22 years old, had 2 feet and a heartbeat, and had no idea what I was doing. So let's get started. Number 1, remember your why. I think the biggest thing that has kept me going over the last 12 years is remembering my why. It has not changed. I have always been passionate about relationships. I think I truly am a romantic at heart, but I really care about people's relationships and marriages thriving. And so whether it was a marriage proposal or anniversary or date night, I really wanted to help couples stay intentional with each other, because I think that makes a huge difference, even in my own relationship. And I can definitely tell when we're not in sync and staying intentional and just letting the days go blah. Number 2, put the right people in your bus and then find the right seats. This might sound like counterproductive, but the first time I heard this, it was like, whoo, with Rachel Hollis. And the idea is you find the right people for your team. I had the right people that were passionate, but I actually had to flip-flop people's positions because I realized my salesperson and my lead planner, their skill set actually made sense flip-flopped. So now my lead planner has become my salesperson and our salesperson became our lead planner because that made more sense for the company and it made more sense for them. Number 3, if you are going to start a company, make sure it is in a business-friendly state. Spoiler alert, California is not one of them. 4, know your clients. When I was 22, I thought I could help everyone with their proposal. That's not true. That would be exhausting. But I also realized I needed to really hone in on my target audience. I needed to figure out the right clientele for the Yes Girls and what we needed to focus on. So our tactic ended up being more of the custom luxury proposals because, to be quite honest, whether I was planning a $100 proposal or a $10,000 proposal, it took me the same amount of time. So 5, know your red flags and then stick to them. So I had to learn the hard way, again, being like a sucker, like, oh, let's help this person, and then it just realized that it was disappointing for the client and the team and everyone. Like, for me, I really have to know my red flags and I gotta stick to them and not budge. Highly recommend it. 6, I'm gonna do this right now. Breathe. I realized that I am a, obviously entrepreneur at heart. I'm a big go-getter, but I would forget to breathe. And so I legit downloaded a breathing app called Breathe, and it dings my phone 5 times a day so that I remember to like check in with myself, see where my body like is at, and like actually breathe. This helps even when the days I'm not working with 3 kids now. Breathe. Simple, but seriously life-changing. 7, just because something doesn't exist doesn't mean it shouldn't. When I started the company, a lot of people looked at me like I was crazy. They would make comments like, that sounds cute, or like, is that really a thing? Like, would people actually pay to help plan a proposal? Well, I did a lot of research. I really dug into Google, and just because the proposal industry wasn't existent at the time, clearly didn't mean that it shouldn't be. And a lot of the times, if people are kind of the naysayers, it's because they're just scared of what they don't know. And so if you have an inkling and you've done the research and you know that this thing makes sense to exist, then you're probably the person to do it. Number 8, set goals and then have a roadmap to get there. I was really big on setting goals, but then I would realize I would just like work and do these to-do lists instead of focused on like how I was gonna get there, like really taking time to map out the goal. I just like would start running, like, well, all right, let's do this thing. So really it helps. I'm gonna give a little shout out to Rachel Hollis for this one because she is really big on setting goals and then having mile markers to get there. I think it's really smart and highly recommend reading her book, Girl Stop Apologizing, if you are looking for a roadmap to goals. Number 9, work-life balance is not a real thing. I know, that sounds weird. Maybe some of you already know this, but thankfully, really early on, I had some amazing women that were moms and also in business teach me this early on. Work-life balance is not real. You cannot give perfectly 50% to your family and 50% to work. It just doesn't happen. Sometimes work requires because your team really needs you and you got to figure some stuff out, so things, you have to prioritize it. And then sometimes your kiddos need you more. Someone gets sick or they're just having a bad week and you have to prioritize. Obviously, my kids will always be my priority, but there are times where I really can tell that the team needs me and I just want to focus, and I know that my family will be okay. So it's all about prioritizing. At least for me, I have found it really let me breathe a little bit more when I realized work-life balance is actually not a thing, and the harmony is really in prioritizing what's important, and that changes week to week, to be honest. Number 10, have a growth versus fixed mindset. When I was young, I was really, really excited about starting the company, but I would kind of fall into the fixed mindset. Like if I had already tried something, I was like, well, I guess it's not really working. And instead of just kind of finding, like, pivoting without the drama behind it, I would get really discouraged. And I realized it was just because I was having a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset. So now when something doesn't work, we just kind of pivot and figure out a new way to do it if we really believe in what we're doing and the product or the service. Ooh, this is a good one. Number 11. My motto is, this is not an emergency. I had to learn very much as a business owner that there were some things that did not need to be responded to immediately. If I had a conflict or if there was something that I needed to address, it was always better if I slept on it. Honestly, I was more at sound mind. I was less emotional about it. Like, no one wants a reactionary reaction, right? During conflict. And so I realized whether it was like an email that came through, there was just sometimes, like, this is where it could go into like that workaholic mindset, like everything needs to be responded to. If I saw the ding, the notification, like it was like a scratch, like, ooh, I gotta itch it. I tell myself constantly, this is not an emergency, and that was a game changer. Number 12, last but not least, one of my favorite things that is part of our core values as a team is to be present where our feet are. I think this is the most, one of the most important things that I have learned, again, to have a successful company and team and a thriving marriage. Not that we are perfect. Good Lord, guys, you know, there's so many things that I do not do right. And being able to be there for my kiddos, like all those things, it really came down to just being more present. I'm so future oriented that a lot of times I was over here and I really need to just be here. So number 12, be present where my feet are. You guys, I hope that something in this will be inspiring or helpful for you if you are starting your company or if you just need like a new little kick in the pants motivation with your own company. And stay tuned next month for our new 12 Things series.